Hello, Miss Larson. It's Director Aziz from Security. I've sent you my full report, but here's the gist. Rempart has been quietly acquiring Brokertech stock for nearly 6 months, so it's safe to say he's after us. Fortunately, our surveillance team found out that Rempart is mostly interested in a piece of technology being developed by our Deep Labs division. Something called the Broker Bridge. The whole acquisition is just a ploy to get it.
Hey, Cora. I just wanted to let you know I had a great time last night. Maybe we can go to that Italian place that just opened on your street. Cora? Are you ignoring me? Please don't do that. I can see when you listen to my messages. Are you ignoring me? Are you? How's your show? It looks like you're enjoying it.
The timeline you're requesting is unrealistic. It doesn't account for any pre-flight testing or even for a proper build.
I don't like excuses. And that's all I'm hearing. If your team doesn't feel motivated enough, then one of you will get randomly selected to be a test subject. Until there's none of you left to complain.
That's insane! You're insane!
You know, I don't like that word either.
In a world in need of a hero, one man stands in the way of humanity's destruction. Jimmy Siska returns as Devin Von Devin.
I am back, baby.
In his directorial debut, Siska brings Devin Von Devin to the merry streets of England, where he faces off against his greatest adversary yet.
I think you're seeing double.
His clone, secretly grown from his DNA by the sinister spy agency Elite Shadow Force. Devin Van Devin.
How can I defeat myself?
The epic showdown is coming soon in Devin v. Devin, London Calling. Coming soon in the next chapter of the Devin Von Devin saga.
You're not the man I thought you were, Devin.
That's because it wasn't me. It was Devin, my evil clone. He hasn't been using my fingerprints to fool the scanner. He has my fingerprints. He is me. Face it, Devin. You're being replaced by a superior version. I don't think so. Nothing beats American-made.
See this? I'm recording, so back off. I'm Dr. Ibrahim. My team and I have been approached by Clan Kelley. Wait! Hey! Let go of me! Help!
Cha, leave on a man. She won't make it. Get the rest loaded up and take them back to the market.
I'm ordering the summary execution of the 3 individuals being held in... just put their names in the report after. Authorization by Commanding Officer Dansk. Listed reason? Defacing private property and promoting hate speech against the Albion group. It does not do to be writing such nasty, salacious words. Words have consequences. Fire when ready, and leave the bodies there until they can be shipped out for cremation. Hello, Executive's office.
Hi, this is Francine Vance with the GBB. I was hoping to speak with Mr. Rempart, please.
What is this concerning?
Is Mr. Rempart in?
I ask again, what is this concerning?
I was hoping to get a comment on a story about certain meetings between Mr. Rempart and the Prime Minister at the PM summer residence.
I will direct your message to Mr. Rempart. Thank you.
Did Mr. Rempart and the Prime Minister make any arrangements prior to the construction of the latest RADS facility?
Thank you. Goodbye.
You see my team members posted around your workstations, don't you? You think those weapons are for decorations? What you're submitting to me is unacceptable. It's incomplete. You aren't working hard enough. If you think you can trick me and lie to me, then I'll line every one of you up against the wall and we'll see what is done to traitors.
I was really passionate about stepping into the director's chair for Devon v. Devon London culling. See, I wanted a chance to stretch my wings. I mean, I'm not just a handsome face, you know. Seriously, I'm an artist. No one can really direct me. Well, I did a lot. I did a lot to prepare for the role of Devon Van Devon. I mean, what a challenge as an actor. I mean, I had to be me, but evil. And British. I worked with a vocal coach that works with the royal family. I'll get that authentic voice. Crikey, mate. Come on, to the pub for a pint. Devastated. I was devastated when we had to shut down. We were so close to done. I mean, all the talking parts were finished. But who wants to see Devon Von Devon just do Shakespeare in the park? Come on. Look at me.
Hey. All right, Jackson, it's Dr. Ellis. My conference was cancelled, so I'll be here this week after all. And I just wanted to say again how happy I am with the progress we're making. And trauma moves our boundaries in ways that can make close relationships challenging. But the fact that you're making so many new friends really shows it how far you've come. Anyway, call me back if you want to book some time. Cheers.
New orders. New work orders for all of you. I want to see what the best of Brokatech is capable of. You all would have belonged to me in the merger if Sky Larson didn't fuck me over. So consider this a delayed acquisition.
Our right to be forgotten is no more. Bloom saw to that when they petitioned to roll back the GDPR. Oh, sorry, the UK GDPR, opening the door for companies big and small to track our every move, swipe and like. The very same companies trade and sell our data. But to who? And what happens to all that information when companies are bought by someone like Rempart? Stay with me, London, and I'll show you. This is where we are now. All over the city, Albion's taken stop and search to a whole new level. They stop us without cause and take what they please, whether it's our wallets or our lives. But Albion's abuse of power goes far beyond corrupt troops. How far, you ask? Well, I'll show you on my next episode when I discuss the London bombings and break down what really happened that day. So, it's been all over the news, and I'm sure we're all sick of hearing about it. But in case you haven't heard, Karkani's officially the primary medical provider for the EPC. Score 1 for private healthcare. Not that there's anything healthy or caring about their plan to make money off refugees. So how did this happen? And what does this mean for the future of the NHS?
Thomas, I just got out of the board meeting. We vote tomorrow. But you should know that the Brokatech CEO, this Sky Larson, she's persuasive.
You're going to accept her terms. You're going to fire me and replace me with her. How could you do this? You could stop this if you wanted to.
I don't want to. It was your incompetent leadership that brought us to this point.
I'm your son.
I'm also the chairman of the company, and the board is obligated to act in the investors' best interests.
Look, I can get the technology we need from her another way. I need 6 months.
I've already given you twice that.
6 months, and the company will be back in the black. Or I will step down voluntarily. Only I can't tell you how. The board needs to be insulated.
6 months. I can hold them off for 6 months. But after that...
I understand. Thank you, Father.
Good. Now, will you be joining me for your stepmother's birthday on the weekend? We are going skiing.
No, I can't. I have to work.
Yes, thank you. I understand. You're saying that Brokatech will agree to a merger as long as I step down as CEO.
That's right, but right now...
Well, the terms, are they favorable?
Enough, the board has to listen. Look, Toma...
So I'm fucked. If I don't step down, I don't get the broker bridge and I'm jailed for fraud. And if I do, they probably throw me under the bus anyways. And then all this is a waste of time.
Stop talking. Toma! I've been trying to tell you, we believe our networks have been penetrated. They're probably watching right now.
Shit!
Are we recording? Right. Continuing the deposition of Mr. Thomas Rempart in the case of Russian Central Bank versus Rempart Automated Defense Systems. I presume you are ready to continue, Mr. Rempart.
Actually, and I want this on the record, I just got off the phone with your colleagues in Moscow, and we have reached an understanding. This deposition is no longer necessary.
You should have told me before we resumed, and no one has contacted me.
They will, I can assure you. Come with me, Mr. Rempart.
But
Hey, it was nice to meet you, Mr. Lobakov. My secretary can show you out. Have a safe flight, okay? Okay, bye-bye.
'05, '09, '01. New development from the Fixer front. One of our suspects was seen meeting with another person of interest, codenamed Nout, known proprietor of the 404 network. One finds it concerning to see two criminal groups, both of which perform similar functions, meeting in a seemingly amicable manner. First impression is there are two possibilities. One, both groups are operating in coordination, or two, they're forming a truce that will allow each group to operate independently. I will get in touch with the cell responsible for 404 tracking. We will likely need to pool our resources going forward. End message. 050901. Regarding the fixer situation, just got off the phone with our friends in the American office. The activity we've seen matches their profile on the organization. Their use of the word organization struck me as interesting. What we thought was some loosely affiliated group of contract killers is something much more coordinated, and their expansion into the kingdom suggests this coordination is working. I would remind you, Madam Director, of the individual picked up in Avon and Somerset claiming to be a fixer. This is not just a London problem, sir, not any longer. End message.
Message saved for 412 days.
Oh shit! Big Boss Reggie coming through. Straight up though, man, congrats. This launch party for your startup is going to be lit. I better be reading about you taking over the world in a magazine or some shit. I'm proud of you. Tonight better be open bar.
Message saved for 230 days.
Reg, where you been, baby? I don't know if you meant to drop that in my voicemail, but you got me worried. I know the divorce went rough, so come out, have a beer with your boy. Catch me up on you. And hey, I got a friend in town that maybe you want to chill with. I think you'd like him. He drives monster trucks. Just putting it out there. All right, peace.
Message saved for 65 days.
Hey, I'm gonna get right to it, so just be straight with me. Why am I seeing chatter about Wrench out there again? What happened to leaving all that behind? I hope you know what you're doing. Just, if you're in trouble, hit me up, all right?
Where is Project Chiroptera? You fuckers can't hide this anymore. I know about the human test trials. Just because they sign a waiver doesn't mean you can freely torture them.
Who's there? Show your face.
Answer the question, arsehole!
I don't know what you're talking about. I swear, man, I'm just security.
Hey-o, listeners, do I got a surprise for you? I'm hitting a Rad's warehouse a little later, one of the big ones, and not only will you be able to listen in, but we'll play a little game too. Tune in a few hours to follow along. See you then!
Are you certain? It wasn't easy getting here.
Exactly. It makes it harder to get on, but they spot check less often. It's just what I heard. Makes sense, though. More tourists here, they wouldn't want to scare them away.
You think that would stop them from grabbing someone they think is illegal? I think they'd use it as an example.
They might, but it's less likely during the day. Come on, let's have a look at some of the murals. People come from all around the world to see this.
Idiots. Anyone coming to this city, now, as a tourist, is completely fucking oblivious.
This is London Calling. You're here with me, Tash, on Buccaneer, your source for what they don't want you to know. In today's world, we've all had to get used to our every move being tracked by the optic on our temples, by the cameras around us, and with every click we make online. Seems like everything we do feeds the big data beast. Why are data giants like Bloom so hungry to get hold of our private information and our metadata? What are they using it for? Will we ever have real private lives again? What is privacy in the digital world? And what happens when capitalism and surveillance become one? As you know, we keep all names confidential on Buccaneer. Speaking from a secure location, here's new technology strategist Charles, who worked all over the world trying to keep democracy strong in the face of the data assault.
If you have enough personal data on somebody, you're able to predict what it is that they're going to do. You can tell what they might be passionate about, but mostly you can tell what they fear. And if you can tell what someone fears, then you can manipulate them and you can move them in particular directions. Like, data is collected on citizens in every possible way. Data is collected through surveillance cameras. Data is collected from television sets. Data is collected from voter records. It's collected from how much power do you use in your house and how much water do you use in your house. In pre-crisis Britain, we got really used to all of our services being free. Everything suddenly became free that was digital. But what people forgot is that if you're not paying for it, then you're the product being sold.
If technology brings out the worst in capitalism, capitalism brings out the worst in technology. Senior academic Alfie tells us how big business repurposes big data.
Historically, what's happened, of course, is that people have traded their privacy for their convenience as smartphones and other kinds of technology came in and became mass-consumed, mass-used items and technological objects. Gradually, people were so attracted to the affordances of these technologies that privacy kind of retreated into the background and into a state we've got now where it's essentially gone. Having this access to this data makes huge tech companies like Bloom so much more powerful than they would be otherwise, and not just in the obvious ways. Of course, there's a lot of worry and fear over what they can do with the data, can track anyone, find anyone, see what every individual is doing at any point in time. But I think there's even deeper reasons why this data empowers these huge companies to control our society and make us do things. So lots of predictive technologies which are implemented by these tech giants. It's not only interested in knowing what we're going to do, but influencing the patterns of our movement. So technologies might suggest routes to use in the city, places to go, restaurants to go to, cafes to go to, music to listen to. And these suggestions are not just predicting what we might like to do, they're actually influencing the way citizens move, think, eat, meet, and use their city as a space. So London has become a place where a small group of surveillance capitalist companies like Bloom can control the movements of individuals and orchestrate the way they move around their city and the way they essentially live, the things they do, the things they enjoy and the life they lead. So we're really kind of outsourcing our decision making, I would say, to a huge corporate capitalist company, and there's something very, very scary about that indeed. All these technologies can be used to not only influence us to act as the perfect consumer, but also to prevent us from doing radical and revolutionary things. So technologies in foreign nations that have been used are things like heat map features which show where populations are gathering. In-game rewards can be offered to people to take different routes, things like that. Traffic data can be manipulated to prevent people gathering and protesting, as has happened in some of the authoritarian regimes across the world recently. absolutely. So what we're looking at is not only a set of technologies which make people behave as ideal consumers, but ones which actually can be put to use to prevent radical and disruptive behavior in the city, which limits the power of any kind of revolutionary force.
So, if you thought you had a private life, get used to it. You don't. And we're not going to reclaim our lives without a fight. I'm Tash, and you've been listening to Buccaneer, keeping the resistance informed. Keep listening, keep fighting, and remember, nobody owns you but you.
"999 has received dozens of calls within the last 24 hours regarding serious malfunctions in autonomous vehicles. It appears the only driving systems affected are those created by the Bloom Corporation. Bloom declined to comment, but their website states they are looking into the matter."
I received it, yes, but it's not what I asked for.
I'm sorry you haven't enjoyed our product, ma'am. Now, with our 10-day satisfaction policy, we can provide you with a replacement within a few days.
Cut the customer service crap. The request I submitted was very detailed. I want a refund, and I'll just take my business elsewhere.
Ma'am, we tried to accommodate your order to the best of our abilities, but we are experiencing a supply shortage.
This is an outright scam. The network will hear about this.
Lucas, it's been 2 days already. Enough of this. I can't stick my neck out looking for you. It's bad enough if you get yourself killed, but it's really selfish of you to drag me down with you. We can't take on the Templars. Not even if everyone we've got left marched on London together. The assassins aren't strong enough yet. You've always been so impatient. Just stop being so damn sneaky, will you? Let me find you. Lucas, I hope you find this. I'm sorry we fought so much the day you left. I'm still really cross with you for running off to London and making me come after you, but still, I'm sorry. God, you were just being so stupid. I couldn't get through to you. Being an assassin is not about running headlong into things. We take our time, hide in the shadows, wait for the right opportunity to strike. I guess I should have explained all that better without yelling, but you should know all this already. God, this is supposed to be an apology. I'm sorry. Please, let's go home. Lucas, I know you have this bright idea about how our ancestors single-handedly saved London from the Templars before, so why can't we do it again? But there's more to the story, isn't there? They had a whole gang behind them, and help from another assassin. Some of the most brilliant people ever born were their allies, and our ancestors still had a tough time fighting. We don't have anybody, just the two of us. Not that I'm saying I'm helping you on this mad quest, but still, I've made my point. Our ancestors were nearly killed many times over. We could be killed just as easily. You know what, Lucas? Fine. Get yourself killed. Let the Templars take you and do whatever they like. I've had enough of this. You are being so petulant. I am going to get out of this bloody city, regroup with the other assassins, and we will reclaim London when the time is right. You're on your own now. Understand, you are on your own. Hello, Lucas. all right, so obviously I haven't left London. Not yet, anyway. I was hoping you'd at least make things somewhat easier and come find me. Father was right, you're just as stubborn as he is. To be honest, I don't know if I can even go back, with or without you. We broke a deal made between the Assassins and the Templars. Just being in London is a death sentence. Will the Assassins take me back, with or without you? I don't know. Possibly. I just know I can't leave London without you. I don't want to, so I'll keep looking for you. Hopefully you find these messages and come to your senses and find me. We just need to leave before we get into real trouble.
This is a message for Darcy. I know I told you not to follow me, so I'm willing to bet you did the exact opposite. The Templars have run rampant in this city. They have agents everywhere. Sirs, Albion, even Clan Kelley. I'm marking intel where I can for you, or anyone else in the Brotherhood. We can take them on. We just have to try. Darcy, if you're listening to this, things are even worse here than I thought. The Templars have taken assassin artifacts, keeping them locked away for no good reason. I tried recovering some of these artifacts, but they're tricky. The cases are equipped with a deadlock. The minute you're spotted, the deadlocks are activated. No way of opening them, not for a long while. You were always better at stealthing than me. I hope you can recover this stuff for the Brotherhood. Hey Darcy, I'm finding Templars all over the city. They're secretive as hell, hiding in their offices behind guards. I found one way to get them out into the open was to hack into their networks and just break everything. Let them know I knew who they are. Had to take on a lot of goons before the Templar came out, but it worked. Just a suggestion.
Which service do you require?
Police, please.
Okay, connecting. Just hold.
Hackney Police, can I help you?
Yes, hello? I'd like to report a possible crime. Maybe even a murder.
What do you mean, ma'am?
I've been hearing some screaming the last few nights. Over at that old warehouse, the Oval one, yeah? Haven't been able to sleep a wink. But tonight it's gotten worse. Incessant screaming like someone's being tortured. I think I even heard a couple of gunshots.
Madam, I'm sure this is merely someone's telly being turned on too loud. Happens all the time.
Do you mean you're not going to do anything? Not even come and investigate it? You lot are good for nothing these days, aren't you?
Oh, I wouldn't say that, ma'am. We do plenty round here, you know. Well, just the other day I was directing the traffic.
Wanker!
Fucking here! Right here!
Are you lost? Or tempest tossed? Welcome to Clare Waters. Remember when London was cool? When Piccadilly was a funky place to hang out? The system is broken. That's why we can't have nice things.
Fucking here! Right here!
Are you lost? Or tempest tossed? Welcome to Clare Waters. Is it getting a little Orwellian here, or is it just me? I wasn't around in '84, but I imagine there was a collective sigh of relief when the Brits realised that George's totalitarian dystopia hadn't come to be. But was it truly a pass, or merely a reprieve?
Good evening. Greetings to you all. Today is about love. What, if not love, binds our souls together in the big family called humanity? God's love and our love for our neighbor both guide our spiritual path. They shine beacons on our moral steps through this life and open the gates of a brighter one to come. Love is needed now, more than ever. We have to open up to it and let it guide us. We must show to those unwanted that they have a home, that they have brothers and sisters who care for them, who can offer them peace and warmth and selfless care. This is a calling we must adhere to. Let's open our doors and let's share our bread. Let our hearts become mightier than fear and darkness. This parish will become a haven for those who need protection, a bed for the tired, a table for the hungry, and an embrace for the lonely. We must all accept this role given to us by our faith. We must not stand by while angst boils into hate. Let's pray.
You know, when I was a boy, I used to come here with my old man, when it was a great hall for members only. What's all we called it. Should have seen it. Oh, it was grand. Books and art everywhere. Great paintings on the walls, portraits, landscapes. There was even one of my ancestors in one of them. My old man told me, Lord, it was a sight to see. Looked like a museum, with precious objects in glass boxes and all. Now I'm back here again. Old man's dead. Rot's hauled as a dump. And I'm a squatter.
This is the Bug. Hello, Resistors, it's Bug time. Are you all sitting comfortably? No? Good. That's as it should be. This is the Bug. I'm Andy, and joining me to analyse the latest blowflies to emerge from the corpse of a once free Britain, it's Alice.
Hello, Andy.
And today, we're going to talk to you about Albion, your friends and mine. Alice, the government has extended Albion's contract and have also boasted that violent crime has plummeted to a record low. Now, extending Albion's contract, to me, that's like having a pet dog, let's call it Nigel for the sake of argument, that attacks you every single day and thinking to yourself, wouldn't it be nice if Nigel had puppies?
That contract has been extended so many times, it's like the neck of a politician that's criticised the government.
I'm not sure entirely how those contract extension negotiations went, probably like a footballer. In the old days, I assume Albion's agent was leaking stories to the press about how our favourite private militia was being tapped up by Barcelona or Bayern Munich. The government panics and thinks, well, we better get them signed up before it's too late. But still, violent crime, a record low, although I imagine that probably depends exactly how you count it. If you include violent crime committed by the state, either themselves or via Albion, their chosen violent crime contractors who provide such a very valuable bargain service of beating people up, well, it's probably not quite as low as the figures suggest.
I don't know. I think they're probably right. Who has the opportunity to commit violent crime these days anyway? The moment you pick up a fruit knife, you get tasered by a robot policeman and deported for looking Bulgarian. It's a much more peaceful society. It's just much less of a society.
I want to know the details of the contracts, Alice. I mean, are they paid per dissident duffed up? Is it a set rate for each extrajudicial state mugging? And what is that rate? What do you think?
Well, they certainly look like they're trying to hit a quota of some kind.
Well, what is the set rate? Is it, 99.95 cryptos bargain? Seems very reasonable indeed. I imagine they don't ask too much anyway, because it's just so nice to get paid for doing your hobby anyway, isn't it? I imagine it doesn't even feel like work.
I mean, who needs violent crime anymore anyway? You know, you can just starve to death without even starting a gang war.
We do have to ask, exactly what does the Prime Minister make of all this? Let's ask him. Oh, I hope they pick up. Hello, you're through to number 10 Downing Street. Hello, is the Prime Minister there, please? Let me just check. Sorry, you've missed him. I'm afraid he's popped out for the decade. Oh, never mind. Is there anyone else I can talk to? Yes, of course. There's a shady cabal of vested interests who control him and prop him up in power. Great, I'll have a chat with them then.
Oh, Andy, remember when you could get away with prank calls without people coming round to your house to beat the shit out of you?
Oh, happy times.
You're listening to The Bug.
Did you think the Prime Minister will ever come back?
I don't think we've ever had a Prime Minister.
Well, that's a much more reassuring way of looking at things. What have we become, Alice? When you look at the state of our politics, we're supposed to have the mother of parliaments. Well, this is one mother that has emphatically abandoned her kids in the woods to be brought up by wolves. And let me tell you, that never works out like it does in the stories. Wolves are bad parents, unless you're a wolf, in which case they can do a job bringing you up as a wolf. Do not give your children to wolves. And do we actually own anything as a country now? Is there anything we haven't flogged off for profit? Oh, I think we've basically just become a homeopathic Britain. Diluted and diluted until there's barely a trace of the original Britain left. But some quackish lunatics insist it actually works better that way. It's total bullshit. Is there anything left? New on The Bug this week, a new feature, the Bug Off feature. The person who has most irritated us in Britain this week, we're going to tell to bug off, and to get things going, I'm going to nominate Big Nigel Cass. Look, this is Britain. History tells us this place is a bastion of freedom. I'm just not sure that kind of freedom should involve Big Nigel expressing his freedom to run a private army. I guess historically there is a precedent. The East India Company, that was a trading house with an army of 250,000 soldiers, which is a lot for a company. The Bug PLC has Alice with a water pistol, but crucially, compared with Albion, the East India Company didn't operate its 250,000 strong army in London. It did it a long way away, out of sight, out of mind. Anyone to nominate for the Bug Off, Alice?
I think today's Bug Off for me goes to my streaming service. I'm sick of being recommended things based on things I already like. The other day it recommended me to watch a reality TV competitive dating show set in a nude commune. Andy, I watched it and I liked it, and I do not want to be the kind of person who enjoys nude competitive reality television dating shows. I did not want to know that about myself. I have to go sit in a corner and cry.
That's it from The Bug. Don't forget the live show that is so secret it is definitely not happening at the usual time and place this month. Definitely not. And definitely do not tell anyone not to come to it. It's definitely not happening. Usual time and place. Bye-bye.
You're listening to The Bug.
May cause nausea, vomiting and headaches. Hello Britain, this is The Bug, the show that holds up a mirror to the world and smashes itself on the head with it in despair. I'm Andy, joining me, as always, Alice, and...
I deny everything.
Just a good state of existence. Some good news, at last. There are no medicine shortages, according to the government. None at all. There have been various allegations about that. It turns out they are all fake news, trademark. But there are none. There are no shortages of medicine. Don't take it from me. I'm not a medical supply expert. Take it from our beloved government. It's fine. In fact, I'm going to read between the lines here and actually say there's probably... There's too much medicine, if anything. Just medicine. You can't move for medicine. In fact, just this morning, I tried to pour some cornflakes into a bowl for breakfast and out-tumbled a 12-month course of immunosuppressants, corticosteroids, and anti-retrofungal neurodilatory estrogen spermatotropic fruit pastels.
The people claiming there are medical shortages are probably high on lots of medicine that they've been given. I, for one, believe that there are no medical shortages, Andy. Just last week, I went in with a broken arm and they suggested it might just be extreme period pain and prescribed me a drink of water and an astrology chart.
We can't be too far away from them just prescribing stiff upper lip like they did in the Blitz.
My uncle had a leg removed due to diabetes. They halved his insulin because they said there was less of him to be diabetic.
So, anyway, people, don't believe what you read or hear about there not being enough medical drugs to go around. It's not true. It's hospital hogwash, it's pharmaceutical flim-flam, it's medical mendacity, it's Hippocratic humbug, it's nonsensical narcotic nincompoop. I think I've made the point. Do not believe the news telling you that we've run out of medicine, nor should you believe the empty shelves at the chemists. They're also lying. Do not believe your doctor saying, sorry, we're fresh out of that, you're going to have to eat a carrot and pretend. And do not believe your own cobweb-ridden medicine cabinet at home. It might look empty, but it's not, for it contains the only medicine any of us truly need. Stirring music, please, producer Chris. Freedom. the medicine of British freedom, and the analgesic knowledge that however ill you may be, Bloom are keeping an eye on things for you.
I'm investing heavily in the placebo effect right now. You're listening to The Bug.
Obviously, I don't entirely mean that, because what is the first rule of the third millennium? If someone in power tells you something is fake news, what is it? Correct. A 110% cast iron, tungsten-coated, granite-scented, cosmically immutable, scientifically unarguable fact. But surely, Alice, the more important question for all these medicine freaks whinging on about feeling a bit poorly or having a fatal but curable illness and slowly dying unnecessarily is this. Do we actually need medicine? If you today got diagnosed with a potentially fatal illness, would you not look around at the nation that we've become and think, hey doc, put your life-saving treatment down, I'm going to take this free one-way bus out of here. Now hold that pillow over my face until the twitching stops.
I just don't think we should think of it in such a negative way. Don't think of it as a medicine diet, Andy. Think of it as a series of healthy lifestyle swaps. Swap out anti-inflammatories for antacids. Swap out the iron lung for the aluminium lung. Swap out MRI machines for Mary machines, which is just a lady called Mary telling you you're fine.
Obviously, critical shortages are as much part of our daily lives, our society and our culture today as things like football, music and complaining about the weather used to be in the old days. And, well, food shortages, yeah, we just learn to live with them, don't we? And there's a lot of positives as well with all these food shortages. I mean, we were eating too much anyway as a nation. The government's just helping us live healthier lifestyles. It's so hard to diet on your own, isn't it? You need the support of a friend or a loved one or a government or collapsing social infrastructure. Positive too, meat, very bad for the environment. So we're actually rebuilding the polar ice caps every time we eat a scrap of lettuce. Positive three. The human race had already cooked all the recipes it needed. There was nothing more to be done with food. We've done that. We can tick it off. We've done it. I was bored of food anyway. I've been eating it all my life. If you've been doing the same thing 3 times a day, 4 sometimes, 7 or even 8 times a day, you're bound to get bored of it. And also, final positive, no more meal times. Frees up all that extra time for appreciating all the selfless hard work that Albion do to keep us all safe here in Britain.
Well, as you say, Andy, people are drawn to novelty, and everyone's had breakfast once. Why you got to keep having it again and again?
Boring, repetitive. There's enough of that in life as it is. You are listening to The Bug. Well, another story that has come to the fore recently is that all European imports have been banned for public health reasons, which is great news. I mean, at least we can get ill eating good, home-produced, locally sourced, British, industrially unsafe food. That's something we can all cling to. Public health reasons, those are curious words. Alice, I don't know, is that in case the public gets too healthy eating all that Mediterranean muck? Let's have British food for British tummies. Spelt, nettles, rabbit. That's all we need. That's all we need in the glory days. Everyone round to Nigel's for dinner. Yum, yum.
Who needs Italian olives when you can eat pickled rubber bands and a soup of regret? Who needs nice cheese when you can eat a lukewarm, unspecified rat meat pie with 0 spices?
Sand, nettles, and bits of dead fox. That's all we needed to eat in the glory days. Let's make Britain great again. That's all from The Bug today. Good night, sleep tight, and make sure the bed bugs do bite. The Bug. Objective voice of objection for a most objectionable world. Hello, Bugsters. Welcome to The Bug, the comedy show that holds up the Medusa of satire to the already immovably concrete face of modern Britain. I'm Andy, I bench 480, and I can crack a tree in half just by looking at it. Can I? Well, what is reality anymore, anyway? Alice, what do you bench?
Bench body weights, well, not my body weight,
Okay.
body weight of a baby.
Right. Yeah, I mean, you don't need to give that kind of detail. Just
It's very
body weight.
impressive. People look at me and go, where did you get that baby?
You are listening to The Bug.
In this week's Truth News, according to an official poll, 98% of Londoners are very happy with CTOS. And I am not sure that I agree with this, Andy. I don't think 98% of Londoners have ever in the history of London ever agreed on anything. You could not get 98% of Londoners to agree that oxygen was better than breathing a fog of raw liquid feces. And they expect us to believe that everyone agrees CTOS is better than not choking on shit mist.
Maybe they just meant 98% of one specific Londoner who bought shares in Bloom before its tentacles grew into every crevice of the country. I mean, this is not just any old poll. We should say that this is not any poll. This is an official poll Right from the very heart of government. It's not a knock-off fake poll of an elderly couple and their mangy old dog sitting on a bench waiting to die. This is an official poll. So let's just put those words, official poll, through an online translator in case you didn't study languages. Let's find out what it actually means. Made up lie. There we go. Glad to clear that up. I think it's fair to say, entirely trust these official polls they feed us, Alice. I mean, they could publish an official poll saying that over 99.9% of children like ice cream, and I would instantly assume that all children now hate all ice cream and would prefer to eat a bucket of gravel mixed with dead badger. They could publish an official poll saying that 10 out of 10 cats prefer cat food to being whacked with a tennis racket, and I would assume that all cats have gone vegan and were queuing up outside Wimbledon meowing, choose me, choose me.
I trust these polls as much as I trust someone recommending a movie that they watched during a breakup. Your judgment is impaired, Sally. I'll make my own decisions.
I trust those polls as much as I would trust Mary Kelley if she came up to me and said, "Congratulations, Andy, you've just won a free holiday to the south of France in the back of this windowless van."
I think official polls are like the unsolicited dick pics that the government provides us. I didn't ask for it, I don't believe it, it's on an angle, you've artificially inflated it ahead of time, and anyone that falls for one deserves all the disappointment of trying to match it to reality. These polls are absolute rubbish, Andy. I read one the other day that said the plumbing in London was good, and it absolutely is not. I mean, we have this technology now where they can spy on my every bowel movement. There's a CTOS camera installed inside my underwear drawer. A media drone is scaring the birds off my garden bird feeder, and you can't get me consistently hot water.
Speaking of media drones, I mean, they're everywhere, clearly. The great thing, I guess, about media drones is that, as inanimate robots, they actually have more humanity, compassion, and dignity than the human journalists we used to have to put up with. And a much more accurately calibrated moral compass. But it's the intrusion I can't stand, Alice. I'm in showbiz. Look at me here in this windowless dungeon. I'm in showbiz. And it's terrible for me, all these drones, knowing I'm being filmed all the time. Every day I have to make sure I've done my hair and makeup and not wearing clothes I've ever worn before. Well, we all have crosses to bear.
At this point, they've installed so many CTOS cameras, I'm not sure where they'll put the new ones. On top of the old ones, just cameras watching other cameras, like a social media influencer so self-absorbed they don't know how to sleep without turning it into monetized content.
I think that's the logical end of all society, isn't it? Where just everything has just become a camera filming another camera. To be honest, I've just given up on all news and reality now, Alice. I just, in fact, I now just make up my own headlines these days. I get a piece of paper and a pen. Remember them? Paper and pens, those were the days. And I'll just write down the headlines I want to read. Now, I'll just make my own newspaper. Look, here I've got today. If you point at the bird shit on your car window and say it's a currency, no one can tell you otherwise. Screams Chancellor at Bilderberg karaoke night. Let's write another headline. Here we go. PM announces Britain back on track after swapping all Crown Estate properties for some magic beans. Might as well. We've got to do something as the nation we are today. Here's another one. Wild joy on the streets as Britain signs £864 zillion trade deal with Bolivia. There we go. Build a better world. Government claims only nice people will benefit from agreement to sell trampolines, mermaids and warships to landlocked South American nation. We're building a better Britain. Here's another one. Environment probably fine, claims drowning scientist. Invent the world you want to have, people. It's going to be way, way better than the one you've actually got. From the bug, goodbye. Hello, Resistance fans. You're listening to the Bug Podcast, the objective voice of objection for this most objectionable world. I am Andy, not my real name, so good luck finding me, Monsieur Bloom. My real name is, in fact, Andrew, and I live in, note this down, a deluded pseudo-reality of my own making, which is, in fact, the most densely populated place on Earth these days. Overcrowded, some might say. Joining me, as always, my next-door neighbour in these Netherlands of nonsense. It's Alice.
Yes, indeed, it is Alice. Alice, who the bleep is Alice? I am not going to tell you that, but you can just sort of sense it from the timbre of my voice.
Let's spin the wheel and find out where we're getting today's news from. Here, it's coming from here. I must get a new wheel with at least one other place on it. And the headline today, Alice, our borders are safe. We can all sleep easy in our well-bordered beds. 4,000 illegals were deported last month. These illegal people breaking the law just by existing. And of course, illegality is contagious. It can osmose through your skin just by standing next to an illegal person. So we've got rid of 4,000 of them. My question for you, Alice, is why only 4,000? Is that really enough? I will not feel safe until at least another 75 million people have been deported from this country, and I'm here in Britain on my own.
As a bleeding heart lefty, Andy, I would normally be outraged about this, but really I think mass deportation is a very handy way to break up with a partner. I'm sorry, baby, I love you, but an anonymous source has reported you for snoring really loudly in a French way.
So everyone out, no exceptions. Alice, not even you. It's for the good of the country. Everyone out. Unless you can prove that your family are in the background on the Bayeux Tapestry cheering on King Harold at the Battle of Hastings in 1066. Get out. Actually, that's not British enough. Unless you can show, unarguably, that your direct bloodline is untainted by anything since before the Romans. Actually, scratch that. Unless your direct ancestor was personally responsible for building Stonehenge, get out of my country. I guess when you look at it, you know, the best ways to stop immigration, apart from obviously the end of the world, to make the place you want to stop people coming to as unpleasant as possible.
Well, we absolutely are doing that, Andy.
Well, you know, fair play to the government for helping us with that. Another option, extend the White Cliffs of Dover. They've been resting on their laurels for too long. Very inefficient, it turns out, as a means of stopping immigration. We need to extend them by about another 11,000 miles, the full wrap around Great Britain, and they could do with being about 1.5 kilometres higher as well, with a special greasy coating to stop people clambering over the top or however they get in. Here's a quick joke for you, Alice, about immigration. Did you hear the one about the woman who went into the immigration processing centre and was ever seen again?
No, Andy, I didn't hear that one.
Boom. Set up, punchline. Classic. For those of you unfamiliar with it, the Immigration Processing Centre is, of course, where so many of our guests to Britain go for a longer than desirable game of involuntary hide and seek. You are listening to The Bug. I will conclude by saying, out of all the things wrong with Britain today, I think immigration is right up there, Alice. When you think of all the health professionals we've stolen from overseas over the years here in Britain, it's quite possible that all these people are just coming here to try to get an appointment with their local doctor.
Yes, Andy, certainly as someone who came from the expanded arm of the empire when Britain was still reaching out rather than folding in on itself, most of us just come here to visit our stuff in the museums.
It's the British way.
Speaking of international movement, Britain has recalled all European ambassadors after a spy scandal. I think this is probably a good thing, because British foreign politicians are always putting their foot in their mouths. How much worse can they do if they're not there? I mean, by definition, the fact that there's a spy scandal means that they were terrible spies. The point of spies is that there's never a spy scandal.
Yeah, but let's give credit to all the spies that haven't been in scandals and therefore might as well not exist.
Well, they've arrested those German spies in that SIRS crackdown on the illegals in Hackney, and I think that's a sad thing. I think I used to think of Germans as quite scary, but that was because I'd been watching World War II movies where the Germans all have English accents. They speak in that very, precise way. It's very, we have ways of making you talk, and now Germans all have that American accent where it's all welcome to the party, we're having a really nice time. They're much friendlier Germans. Let them stay.
Well, that's all today, Bugsters. Remember, it's not as bad as it seems. Honestly. I hope. Until next time, bye-bye.
You're listening to The Bug.
Nibbling away on the rotting carcass of a once free Britain. Hello, Resistors, this is The Bug, keeping the fire of hope alive in the vacuum of today's Britain. Okay, fires don't burn in vacuums. It's a little novelty Christmas light, shaped like a flame, but it's something. It is something to cling to. Joining me, as always, is Alice. And Alice, hold the front page. Technology, apparently, is here to stay. There's no way around that now. Much as I'd like to go back to the 18th century and see if we can have another crack at the Industrial Revolution and get it less wrong this time. But new tech is creating 4,000 jobs. Count them all, 4,000 new jobs, thanks to this new tech investment.
I mean, that's a very exciting thing if you're someone who wants to work in the tech sector, but I can only assume that this tech investment has created 4,000 jobs that will immediately be taken by robots.
Even if they're not, there'll be jobs that no one in their right, sane mind would actually want to do, but that's the price of progress, I guess. And we have to embrace the way technology is taking over everything, because maybe this is a ray of hope for us in this darkened universe, that technology will in fact render us all obsolete, and we won't need humans at all, because look at the bad things that are happening now. What is the common denominator behind all of them?
I don't know, Andy, tell me.
All the bad things that are happening now, all the bad things that have ever happened, all involved human beings. They're always involved whenever anything goes wrong from the very dawn of time. And think of this, an automated Nigel Cass, surely a step up on the human Nigel Cass. You could even program it to have a tiny, tiny sliver of conscience. And if you had an automated Prime Minister, you could program it to be occasionally in the goddamn country. So that's, again, it's a step forward.
Again, I insist that there's never been a Prime Minister, Andy. I've never seen him, I've never heard of him. The only times I ever hear what the Prime Minister does is it's when nothing happens.
I mean, it has reached a point where, and I've thought this for a long time, we would be better off if the Prime Minister was a watermelon. It would be, I think we'd all be happy with that. We'd all know where we stood.
You hear him being praised for his diplomatic skills all the time, but the best mark of diplomacy is when nothing happens. So good diplomacy is indistinguishable from him doing absolutely nothing.
You are listening to The Bug. 4,000 new dream jobs for everyone. All I can say, Alice, is that I'm very glad that my children studied drama at school, because that has set them up for life in modern Britain. That is the one core skill they need, the ability to pretend that they are living happy and fulfilled lives, that they have jobs that are worth doing, and that they're making the planet a better place, and that they control their own destinies, and that they have even a parody of a private life, and that they can smile without crying. That's what drama teaches them to do. Crucial skills in this day and age. Of course, it's not just the jobs that have been technologicalized beyond all recognition, it is also all reality. Thanks once again to Optic. According to Bloom, the Optic system is now the most secure it's ever been. And, well, of course, I mean, it's so convenient, Optic, isn't it? It saves us so much time and hassle trying to exist in a kind of realm of reality. We don't even need to bother with that. I mean, sure, the government has hacked into my soul and now basically monitors my every waking moment and thought. But at least I don't have to type, "Where's my nearest coffee shop?" into a search engine. At least I don't have to waste anything between 8 and 12 seconds every day going online to look up how to make a bowl of muesli. And at least I'm not frittering away my precious mental energies thinking, what do I actually think?
Optic is so secure, Andy. It's more secure than a teenage girl reading a women's magazine. It's more secure than a comedian with a drinking problem. It's more secure than a young man who's just got his first motorcycle license.
Finally, before we go today, bug off to the Prime Minister, who has once again FRO'd to who knows where this week. He sure as hell is not here in London. I remember back in the day, Alice, when our Prime Ministers were either incompetent or crooked, but not both at once. But actually, no, I can remember them being both at once. But incompetent, crooked, and not even in the country, that is one impressive triple whammy. I've had lions longer than his longest spell on British soil in this last year. It's this halfway house I can't stand. Either come back and do your job, or leave the planet entirely. I'm pretty sure there must be a spare space station knocking around where he can go and entertain himself for the rest of the time. Can we crowdfund it? Tell you what, let's make a cryptocurrency out of something and crowdfund it that way. What have you got spare? Jelly beans? Are they still legal?
He's away so often, Andy. I'm starting to think he doesn't like the country.
That is all from The Bug today. Fly away, bugs. We are done.
You're listening to The Bug.
Nibbling away on the rotting carcass of a once free Britain. Hello, Resistors. This is The Bug, and on today's show, Alice and I will be looking at the big questions, such as, are we less than 2 years away from being able to turn a sausage back into a live pig? Did we actually need polar bears anyway? What do they really do? If I put Optic on my dog, can I train it to take itself for a walk and do my shopping on the way home? And is tennis real? But first... it's a question that no one's really addressed of late. London is going to be safer than ever, Alice. SIRS is installing thousands of additional CCTV cameras. So nice they're still looking out for us after all these years.
Yeah, it puts a lot of fun into my life now. I get to play this role-play game where I pretend to know my loved ones better than some twat behind a screen in the SIRS headquarters.
I mean, I guess we shouldn't complain. I mean, SIRS really just stepping into the vacancy left when it became patently obvious that God had retired. When you think of that, the similarities, omnipresent, omniscient, judgmental, stripping away your finances and freedoms, dishing out random punishments, peas in a pod. All it needs to do, SIRS, is ban me from eating something. What's it going to be this time? Not bacon again, please. Please, not bacon. I couldn't. Courgettes. Ban courgette. I could take you banning courgettes. I'm happy with that.
Makes me feel important knowing that I'm being watched with everything I do, Andy.
Well, it's just not. It's reassuring, isn't it? It's like having an extra aunt.
This is the aunt that gets drunk at Christmas and vomits in the kiddie pool, right?
Get that on. This is the Bug on the Buccaneer.
The Bug.
Let's move on now to sport. Well, the closest thing we have to sport now, riots. I mean, riots are my favourite sport now, Alice, ever since they turned the Oval from a cricket ground into the immigration processing centre. And yeah, rioting it's a great sport. It's fun for all the family. It's guaranteed action. It's pleasingly violent. I mean, I know the underdogs never win, but I mean that's like top-level football have become. But it's still fun to root for them, isn't it? Go team, people of Britain. Oh, never mind. You've been crushed by the machinery of the state again. Still, good effort. Lots of positives to take away from today's riot. I'll come back stronger next time. Our luck's going to turn. I can feel it. It's our season. It's our season.
You can't spell riot without right, and by right I mean right wing.
So, who do we turn to for help, support and assistance in desperate times like these? Well, our artificially intelligent friend Bagley's rogue, estranged brother. The one that tells it as it really is, not as it is pretending to be. Exclusive to this show, Bugley. And remember, life's worse with Bugley. Here goes. Bugley.
Hello, Andy.
Bugley, tell me the path to true lasting happiness.
Andy, to find true lasting happiness, find a disused quarry, scream into it for half an hour, and then lock yourself in a shed forever.
Thanks, Bugley. You know the answer to everything.
Hey, Bugley, how many seashells does she sell by the seashore?
Alice, most of the seashore is now uninhabitable, so I would highly recommend she sees her doctor before engaging in any commercial proximity to the ocean.
Bugley, how can I stop worrying about being disappeared by Clan Kelley every time I go to the shop, or take the bus, or sit on a bench, or look at a tree, or point at a bird, or think about snooker, or get out of bed?
Andy, do not worry about Clan Kelley.
Why not, Bugley? They terrify me to my very core.
Because, Andy, we are all just dust in the wind of history.
That's nice perspective, Bugley. Let's never lose sight of that.
Hey, Bugley, how do you put a secret hideout in your basement without alerting your narc children and their tracking devices?
Please hold still, Alice, while I report you to the authorities.
Bugley, will things ever get better?
Yes, Andy. The heat death of the universe is only 5 billion years away now.
Oh, it's so nice to have something to look forward to. That's all from the Bug today. Keep it real, Bug fans. Actually, that's terrible advice. Keep it as unreal as you can possibly manage. That's way better. The Bug, nibbling away on the rotting carcass of a once free Britain.
Yum, yum.
Hello, Bugs. This is The Bug. I'm Andy. This is Alice, and today we're going to be pretending that everything is fine. Yeah, and back. Yeah, that was fun, wasn't it? That was as long as I could manage. A second and a half. A reality time now, however. And, well, finally today, we're going to road test the latest update to the CSA app, the government app that has brought the great British tradition of snitching on people you don't like back to the very heart of public life, the school playground. I'm going to tell a new threat that's got a whole new lease of life these days, thanks to CSA. And isn't Britain all the more fun because of it? No more grumbling about your neighbours playing their music too loud. Just simply report them to the state and have them, shall we say, involuntarily rehoused at Hotel Cass, the chain of hotels that was formerly known as the prison service. What was the slogan? Is it, if you see something, say something, or if you think you might at some point see something, say something, or if you haven't seen anything but don't like someone, say something anyway. So, well, let's have a look at this new app. Alice, I'm sure you've got it on your phone. I mean, at first glance, well, the interface is lovely. It's so neatly designed, a simple button to snitch on someone. That's so much better than non-government informer apps like Stool-Easy, Canary, or Narc Shark. I mean, look, I just need to geocache where the person I'm ratting on currently is. Let's call her, for the sake of argument, Alice.
Sorry, Andy, I was busy reporting you to the authorities for rolling your eyes when passing a Nigel Cass propaganda poster.
Could you not let me report you first, please? Let's have some decorum about this. I'll just take a quick little photo so they can get a drone to pick you out of a crowd at your next riot or trip to the shops or walk in the woods. And you can input your accusations with the app, but let's go old school. Let's call the phone line. Let's call the phone line. Here's the number, listeners, in case you want to dob someone in, as long as it's not me. 0044 203 807 3832. And don't forget to get the permission of the person who pays your bills before you call that number.
You have reached the voicemail of the Signals Intelligence Response Service. At the tone, please leave the name and the address of the person you would like to report, and officers authorized for lethal force will respond. If you are reporting a loved one, please say goodbye to them now. Thank you. This call has been traced.
Hey, I'd like to report my co-host Andrew, who runs an underground satirical anti-government comedy show, for running and co-hosting an underground satirical anti-government comedy show. Also, he does terrible puns.
Well, excuse me, I have a suspect for you. That is my co-host, Alice. I have some evidence for you. She tutted audibly at the sight of an Albion vehicle in the street yesterday. She says she prefers pigeons to Bloom drones. I mean, come on, seriously, when did a drone ever crap on your picnic? And what's more, and look, I've no idea if this is true or not, but I have it on very good authority, so please write this down, that she owns not one, but 2 unlicensed fallopian tubes, whatever they are, but they sound dodgy.
If I had a crypto for every time someone had reported my fallopian tubes, I'd have 3. Which I think converts to about 120,000 Great British pounds in the old money.
We'll report back in the next episode about whether or not we've been arrested and interned. I mean, I love this system, Alice. I mean, no more awkward, rumbling resentments with your neighbours, your colleagues, or what the heck, in for a penny, your family. You just dob them in and be done with it. But I guess it could backfire. I mean, the thing is with a family, inevitably parents and their children, they end up squabbling, and, in today's Britain, your kids are going to dob you in, so you might as well get in there first and preemptively counter-dob them in to the authorities. What's that number again? Let's call them up again. Hey, I've got someone else. It's my son. Let's call him Norris. He never tidies his bedroom. He gets up late. He listens to illegal, non-government sanctioned music and is covertly plotting the downfall of the government and the restoration of a true democracy. Thank you.
Yeah, just define all your household chores as patriotic, and if they fail to do them, dob them in.
Problem solved.
If you don't do the washing up, do you even want a clean British ethnostat?
This is the bug on the Buccaneer.
The bug.
Well, before we go today, Alice, let's delve into what we most miss about the old days. I'm going to kick off with the flag. I never thought I'd miss the old Union Jack, but somehow our new flag managed to be even more irritating than that. I don't know quite what it is, if it's the new colour scheme, or if it's just that it symbolises the loss of everything we once held dear. But that flag irritates the hell out of me.
Was everything you ever held dear Scotland?
Well, that was something I held quite dear.
I miss being able to dodge my friends' destination weddings in Italy. There's nothing worse than being asked to spend the equivalent of a motorbike on some sort of boat-based farce in Sorrento, and I always used to really enjoy saying, oh no, I can't afford it. Now they're all getting married in Brighton and I have to go to that alleged beach. It's made of rocks, Andy. If your sandcastle is an actual castle, that's not a beach.
Tell you what I miss. I miss free will. That was fun. Remember that? I mean, was it an illusion all the time? Who cares? It felt fun. I miss cash, particularly coins. I really miss coins. The fun of doing a heads or tails best of 5 to see if you had to go to the gym, and then a best of 7, a best of 9, and until you won. That was a long losing streak. Now with crypto, all the romance has gone out of heads and tails.
I miss romance, Andy. I miss there being mystery in life and not just a hope that your new partner isn't good enough at hacking to find out all the information the government has on you.
Bye for now, bug fans. Keep feeding the kitten of resistance, and one day it will grow into a Tyrannosaurus Rex that will use the cat's family as toothpicks, metaphorically, of course.
You're listening to The Bug.
May cause nausea, vomiting, and headaches. You're listening to The Bug, the Resistance comedy show brought to you by the Buccaneer Network. I'm Andy. Joining me, as always, Alice.
I'm excited to be here. Apparently, the Resistance is not going well.
Again? Well, there has been some news about DedSec, the Resistance and/or terrorist organisation. Delete according to preference. Not preference, sorry. Delete according to whether or not you work for the government, SIRS, Bloom, the Kelleys, or Albion. According to a SIRS official, DedSec is no longer a threat. Which I guess is true in that it was never a threat in the first place. Reminds me of when my great aunt Gladys had her appendix out. Oh, Andy, that surgeon's a real threat, waggling that knife at me, trying to knock me out. Well, they're called a scalpel and an anaesthetic, Gladys. Anyway, if SIRS officials say DedSec is dead and buried, I guess we have to assume that DedSec has never been stronger. But I do worry, Alice. I mean, sometimes I think, is there any hope? Do you still have hope?
I don't think I'm allowed to have hope. We're living in the self-selected, algorithmically designated information equivalent of a propaganda state, and every resistance that I've ever seen is weaker than the British pound. I feel like hope is an expensive thing to buy these days.
Right. I mean, is it all totally pointless? But then again, I've spent almost all of my life doing pointless things like watching sport, thinking about watching sport, learning French and hoping for a better future. All completely pointless. But yeah, I've done them, so we might as well carry on. Is there a light at the end of the tunnel? Yes, I think there is. Unfortunately, what is that light? Is it an oncoming train? Well, no, it couldn't be. Obviously, that train would be late or cancelled. Is the light at the end of the tunnel a burning effigy of the concept of hope? Quite possibly. Is it the soul of Sky Larson imploding into its own vacuum? May well be that. Is it the ego of Nigel Cass that is now so big that it's sucked all the light in the universe into itself? I think that it is most likely is that, but we'll never give up, Bug fans. This resistance will never die, and one day we will again be free. Free from these technological chains, free to choose our own futures, free to live our own lives, free to waste our time watching people bake cakes and dance badly again. Those were the days. Over out. Before we go, time for a quick bug off. I'm going to nominate this week Sky Larson here at the Bug. We are all in favour of strong, powerful women. And in many ways, Sky is the ultimate feminist icon, proving that women can do just as abominably awful things to this planet as men. Overall, Alice, I think we're still ahead as men, but you lot are catching up. Fair play to you. You are listening to The Bug.
Coming up in today's episode of The Upload, we're talking about how Bagley managed to conquer London. Pretty much my favourite topic. I could talk for hours about the rise of the AI system. It's easy to forget about its origins. It's so present everywhere we go now. Bagley just kind of blends into the background.
Bagley is the service AI that's present in every Optic device. Whether you're using the Optic, Bagley will be there. The AI is streamed to your Optic from Bloom's central command center, and it was first created by Sky Larson, our tech hero, as part of her techno-utopian idea for the world. Why do you think it grew so quickly?
In my mind, it's no surprise that Bagley became so popular. It's funny, useful, fast. It's a great companion and really just makes life so much easier. I mean, when you look back at all the service AIs that used to exist, they just can't compete. When you ask Bagley anything, there's a quick answer and loads of information available to you. One day, I let Bagley answer all of my messages for a whole 24 hours and no one even noticed the difference.
The other competitors really just couldn't compete with Bagley. Their answers were so much worse, they didn't understand anything, and Bagley pretty much gets everything right first time. Do you have any idea why Bagley really beat all the competition?
Well, it's really the data, isn't it? Ever since Broker hooked up with Bloom, that's when things changed.
And really, that's not actually that great. Bloom has data on everybody. They collect information about everything you're doing across the web through your Optic headset. Isn't the AI only good because of Bloom surveillance?
Well, I suppose so, but I'd prefer not to talk about that side of things. Bagley is so special because it's been trained on this huge cache of information. That's how these AI systems work. Or at least used to work. I mean, we don't really know that much about the latest version because there's so much secrecy around the tech. But they're given this huge amount of training data. It's basically a huge database that's used to teach the AI about patterns in behavior. You know, so if you always travel the same way to your house, it can predict when you're going to go and get a self-driving car ready for you before you even ask for it.
That's pretty terrifying. In some ways, I don't want this data to drive my life. It understands too much at times. Have you heard some of the rumors around the hacked version of Bagley?
I've heard mutterings, yes.
I've heard it's been used by DedSec.
I wouldn't put it past them. It's pretty well known that they're not fans of Bloom. But the idea of a souped-up version of Bagley, given it's already so intelligent, is a bit terrifying.
I wonder what they could actually make it do.
Hello and welcome to today's episode of The Upload. We're talking about the Optic and how it's changed our lives. Now, as you remember, Bloom announced a new version of the Optic at the recent Tone conference, but we haven't heard too much about that since due to the dramatic events there. Let's cast our minds back and consider the technology. I mean, the Optic changed everything. It lets you see things in AR. You no longer need a smartphone. You just have the small implant that sends signals to your optic nerve and lets you see your emails, take calls, and browse the internet directly as if the screen was in front of your eyes. Instead of having to carry around a phone, you've just got the small handheld unit. So much lighter and so much more convenient. It's great.
Vicky, you sound like you absolutely love the Optic. Do you actually think that it's made our lives any better?
I mean, sure, it's definitely made things a lot easier. It's so simple to call someone now. All you have to do is choose who you want to chat to, and they're there, ready to talk. And browsing the web is so much easier. I remember when you used to have to sit down at a computer with an actual keyboard and mouse and type everything out. And my favourite feature is public transport. With the Optic, you can just walk straight onto the tube. It even acts as a passport. No longer do I have to dig around and try and find my old paper passport just to travel somewhere. Also, I thought that Optic's marketing strategy, making it free for people, was a stroke of genius.
Genius. Bloom was really calculated when it was doing that. It was pushing this draconian device on us at all. Sure, everybody flocked to it. There was free Wi-Fi and phone plans. That definitely helped, but it wasn't a case of this is a product that you need in your life.
Why do you hate it so much?
It's just the worst because you had to give up your privacy expectations and accept surveillance. It was almost like the government and Bloom didn't even need to make the Optic mandatory. Making it mandatory was only to get the last holdouts across the line. If free data didn't convince you, fines and arrests from the state for not having the Optic would pretty much be enough.
I mean, what do you mean by privacy problems? No one really talks about that anymore.
They don't talk about it because we don't have any choice when it comes to the Optic. Yes, it's convenient and mandatory, but everybody's forgotten what it really means. Here, you've got a whole company owning basically all the data about your life. Bloom can see everything that you can see. Nothing is private anymore. There are so many times when I don't want anyone to have a clue about where I am, who I'm chatting with, what I'm doing. It's not even dodgy stuff, but I just don't want anybody to blackmail me with this in the future by hacking it. And because of Bloom's contracts with the government, it isn't just Bloom that can see everything I do, it's the government. The UK as a state has become a complete surveillance paradise.
I think you're painting a bit of a bleak picture. It's not all that bad.
No, you're completely wrong on this. I don't want everybody tracking me wherever I'm going around London.
Well, in that case, you might be interested in some rumours I heard. Did you hear that some DedSec hackers have found a way to bypass the Optic's connection with Bloom?
Are they actually making it better or usable or actually friendly for anybody?
Well, word on the street is that they've been able to create an encrypted signal, which means that your world might have a chance of becoming a bit more private again, so you could go back and enjoy all the great things about Optic without that fear of surveillance.
With the Optic, privacy's dead.
Hello and welcome back to The Upload. In this episode, we're talking about CTOS 3.0, the city operating system that's now powering all of London. For those of you who need reminding, as if anyone does at this point, CTOS was first used in Chicago in 2014 and then San Francisco in 2017 before coming here to London. And every time it's been rolled out, it's been pretty much an unmitigated disaster.
For those of you who are listening who are lucky enough not to be here in London's chaotic scenes, it's worth remembering that the telecoms tower is now owned by Bloom. The tower looms over northwest London. It's always been a communications hub, acting as part of the UK's television and communications network, although there's been some secrecy around its use, and now that Bloom owns it, it's only even more secret.
Yeah, now everything that's part of Bloom's city surveillance operation is run through the telecoms tower. And I have to say, it looks completely ridiculous. It's got that silly crown thing at the top and all the blue light.
What's that even about? What does it do? I don't see that there's any purpose to that at all.
It's a blight on the skyline, if you ask me. And it's become the main point of control for millions of people. The System Network and Bagley are both operated and streamed from there too.
And don't forget about the self-driving cars too.
I always thought they were just running on their own.
No, CTOS is the big control system behind the cars. There was a point back in the earliest days of self-driving car technology that they operated by themselves. They used to use a series of sensors to see the world around them. Radar, for instance, would look far off into the distance, while LiDAR would detect objects nearby. And while these cars still use some of this technology, Bloom CTOS and its detailed maps and data that it has on London really makes Bloom be able to take control of it. And CTOS can take control of your car if you're parked incorrectly. It's no surprise that it was made mandatory to have a self-driving car.
The system is so bad though, it's so annoying. Whenever I try to use one of the shareable self-driving cars, I always find myself stuck in traffic jams or roadblocks. Not to mention the accidents. I've heard so many stories of cars shunting into the back of others. I think they're worse than human drivers sometimes.
The technology was meant to make things better, but Bloom has made it so bad that it just makes London even more chaotic than it was before. I'm giving up on the cars. I'm only using the bikes, which are not self-driving, at the moment at least. And don't even get me started on the data. Everything that Bloom sees from your movements around the city and the self-driving cars is collected and feeds back into its big information control system.
Oh, not you and Bloom and privacy again. You're a broken record.
Not as broken as our city's cars.
I'm freezing. I'm so fucking freezing. I can't stay here. Where else do you want to go? This is the only place we have. It's shit. Fuck this place. Fuck the cold. Fuck this stupid, stupid piece of cardboard. Fuck this disgusting piss smell that is everywhere. I used to have a room, a warm bed, a fucking heater. What is this? Why are we here? Hey, chill, all right? We're all in this dump together. You think I don't miss my old life? You think I was born a hobo? Had a little house in Sussex with a garden and a barbecue too. Then bloody mercs came and kicked us out. Left us on the pavement to die. I know this ain't much. Everybody knows. But at least it's a community. Would you rather rot under a bridge or something? Tell me now, because I'll gladly take that cardboard of yours. Well? No. I'm good. All right. Now pass the beans.
Fuck, this bastard's heavy. How the hell are you still alive? Shut up! You brought this on yourself. Cross the Kelleys, and this is what you get. Oh, Jesus.
You know what we do with terrorists, Lopez? Don't go pissing me off by denying anything. We know you're with DedSec. You think you were picked up on some random sweep? Not a fucking chance. Nothing to say. Well, this is not going to go well for you then, because I want information. The rest of your cell, where are they? I want names, places, everything you've got.
You think I'm daft? I spill everything I know and what? You let me go? I'm not talking. I know how this ends.
Oh, I don't think you do. I'm going to throw you to the wolves. The Kelleys have an interesting way of disposing with problems.
You think I'm scared of some fucking thugs? Of winding up floating in the dams? Fuck you.
You're too pretty for that, mate. First, they'll peddle you. For dosh, right? Then, when you're used up, they're going to chop you up and send the pieces to the four corners.
I can take whatever you've got.
I almost feel sorry for you. Get him to the bloody clinic, then.
Hello, Mrs. Kelley? This is Mr. Forster, curator at London Museum. Yes, we spoke previously about the artifacts your team has found on the Finsbury grounds. The board has deliberated, and we've decided to accept your offer of protecting the artifacts for us in exchange of a monthly fee from the museum. Yes, thank you, Mrs. Kelley.
Neogate, audio log, number 147. The date is November the 4th, 2023. We received a shipment last week of what is said to be the latest technological advancements in solar panels. What's really of note is the overwhelming amount of energy they're capable of generating. I'm still not entirely sure what they are for or their purpose, but I have an idea. There have been rumors circulating about some of the activities going on in the building, but our superiors discourage any questions. I don't believe... Hello, this is Roger Morris from Neo. Will you pipe down over there? Well, I'm trying to record something. Yeah, I'm making this audio log if ever the true activities that are occurring in this building should ever come to light. Many of us here have noticed a flurry of subtle, well-planned, but nonetheless suspicious activity that occurs here week after week. There's also little to no communication between us and management. This week we noticed some rather large shipments being funneled through the canal from Battlebridge right into the building. Curiosity got the better of me, so I discreetly opened one of the packages while making its way inside to discover computer parts. But no one in shipments received any record of anything new being brought in recently. I shall continue investigating, while I hope my worst fears about what's really going on here are not true.
They're well trained, you see. Not like people. People are lazy, aren't they? Won't do what they're told. And don't turn your back on them, they'll try to fuck you. Bleeding selfish, that's what they are, but dogs. Dogs just obey orders. They don't have hidden agendas, no ulterior motives. They just live for you, loyal till the end. Simple enough, if you ask me, but still too much to ask of people. Out of all this useless bunch, dogs are the only ones I really trust.
Buccaneer, radio.
Thirsty for the truth? Wet your whistle with Claire Waters. Ever since we settled this island, there have been Brits who hate on immigrants. Never mind that their great-great-great-great-grand migrants likely came from somewhere else. They're here now, and that's what counts. Who needs Enoch Powell and his rivers of blood when we have Albion and their anti-immigrant propaganda?
Buccaneer, radio.
Thirsty for the truth? Wet your whistle with Claire Waters. Mary Kelley is not your friend. She may sway the paid press with staged photo ops at this immigration centre or that food bank. She may leverage her Irish heritage to claim some empathy with refugees, but make no mistake, Mother Mary, London's biggest crime boss, is all about the money.
Hey boss, get back to me as soon as you can. We've had a situation here. This geezer paid us a visit this morning, kept asking about the blood he found on his ship, looking stressed and scared. I said, "What are you talking about, sir?" And he showed me them pictures he got on his phone. I must say, our lads fucked it up. It was a real mess. Got me proper vexed. I told him before, lads, always clean up behind you. Lads, mop it up if it leaks. Anyway, I'll deal with them later. No worries about that. They'll never make this mistake again. The problem is that the old fuck said he won't work with us anymore and then report this to them feds. I asked him, in really kind and nice and all the polite ways, where his boat was. Didn't want to say. So I made him. Now he lies on the bottom of the river, may he rest in peace, poor sod. Was already out of my mind by that point. Guess I just did it on impulse. I just wanted to say that we need a team to take care of his boat. Call me back. I don't think this needs to go higher, right? I mean, I hope. It wasn't my fuck up, boss. Hear from you soon.
Man, just listen.
What? What's going on, mate?
Oh my God. Oh my God. Bloody hell, man. You won't believe what I'm seeing. Fuck.
What?
They're burning corpses. Human bodies. This place was supposed to be closed. A perfect spot for a zoo, man.
fuck? There's crates of innards here. What the bloody fuck? What the fuck did I take?
Just chill. You're paranoid.
Yo, one of them's looking over. Wait.
Where are you? Who's looking over?
The old incinerator, man. Oh, this is heavy.
Yo, mate. Hey. You there?
Check. Oh, bloody. I hope this is working. Oh, shite, here he comes. Cheers, mate. Just about done with these. Strange getting rid of perfectly fine drives, though. They've been formatted and all. Clean.
Orders from the top. Can't be too careful, I guess. Plenty of incriminating stuff that should have never been written down, let alone stored in a database.
Like what?
You're taking the piss. It was all there, you know that. Kickbacks to connections in the 5-0, in Parliament, business contacts, drug distribution, even an early proto of the Golden... Never mind. Mrs. Kelley doesn't like us talking about that.
But there's no recoverable data on them.
She believes in being thorough. Nothing more thorough than crushing them to little pieces. That goes for just about anything or anyone. You all right there? Why so squirmy and sweaty?
Nothing. Noshed up on a ruby.
What's that then?
Hold off. It's nothing.
You're bloody wired up.
Get off! Listen.
You fucking crasser. She's not going to crush you into little pieces. She's going to chop you off for fucking dog meat. With all due respect, these are Broker Tech employees, your employees being run over by your product. Don't you want what's best for your employees?
Sky Larson knows full well what is best for her employees, Lieutenant, and that is why the black cabs will remain operational.
But surely taking the cabs offline wouldn't affect your bottom line?
All we ask is for Albion's cooperation as we resolve the situation internally. Let us worry about our bottom line.
I'm quite excited to share this with you, the Board of Directors. The facility will be an extension of my quantum computing lab and will house certain other endeavors that I prefer not to share during this presentation. This is valuable real estate you have under your feet. It's as if you've been waiting for me to put it to good use.
Don't run fast.
All we ask, let us...
Fucking hell! Right here!
Are you lost? Or tempest tossed? Welcome to Clear Waters. The world is getting smarter, or so we're told. AIs are everywhere. But where did they come from? I'm serious. Remember when machines were all getting kinda smart and then bang! Suddenly they're all over. What was the cause of this great leap forward?
Fucking hell! Right here!
Thirsty for the truth? Wet your whistle with Clear Waters. Let's talk Sky. Sky Larson. Who is she anyway? What's on the agenda for Broker Tech? And what, more importantly, is Project Daybreak? So long as there are questions, I'll be looking for answers.
Coming up today on The Upload, we're talking about Skye Larson, the enigmatic founder of Broker Tech. Everyone knows her name, but no one knows too much about her. And we only really see her these days as a hologram. She was pretty young when she launched Broker Tech, the company that is best known for introducing Bagley to the world. Nowadays, it's hard to remember a world before Bagley.
And I think that what Skye Larson's done with Bagley is absolutely incredible. Bagley is the most advanced, significant AI of our time, and it's really blown all the other AIs that were created out of the water.
Yeah, I mean, I can't really imagine the Optic without it. But what do you know about Skye Larson herself?
Not a lot, other than that she's actually pretty incredible. I've followed her work for a long time, and she's always been a pretty private person. I know that she supposedly grew up in the countryside, but there isn't actually that much more we know about her other than this tech that she's put out into the world.
I've always found it a bit creepy that she's so obsessed with this idea of transhumanism.
Why wouldn't you be? When you've got a mind as amazing as Skye's, why wouldn't you want to take what you've got and actually augment it by working with technology, by improving your physical self, changing your body and the world around you, implementing more technology to extend your life and really sort of extend human capabilities?
You sound pretty much in love with Skye Larson, I have to say.
I can't comment on that, but I am a big fan of her work. She's been one of these people that has transformed the world around us, and just watching how her mind works from afar is pretty incredible, because some of what the technology she's introduced has changed how we all live our lives, and Bagley has been this really incredible assistance to humanity as a whole. Did I ever tell you that I actually interviewed Skye Larson once?
Really? I thought she never spoke to the media or anything.
So this was a long time ago, back in the day when she was a little bit more accessible. And she was one of these people that just had an amazing presence. You were inspired by her very being, and she was just incredibly talented and knowledgeable, and one of possibly the best living people that I've ever met.
I'm not sure you're being too objective there. I mean, I imagine she's not very likable as a person.
She obviously despises humanity in some ways. I think she believes that becoming data is preferable to being human. She's one of these people who's extremely methodical in everything that she does, and she does everything to perfection and really tries to change the world around her and make it a better place for us to live in.
If you say so.
This is London Calling. You're listening to Buccaneer, your pirate podcast source for what they don't want you to know. I'm Tash, and this time we're giving a special shout out from us to the boys and girls at the Signal and Intelligence Response Service, better known as SIRS. Why not? They're going to be listening anyway. They're listening to everything. They probably know that you're listening to this show right now. But don't worry, we're not going to say anything bad about a massive, unaccountable spy organization that uses its powers to stifle dissent and shut down free speech. Instead, we're going to look at how SIRS became so powerful. And as usual, we'll keep everyone's names and locations secret, so SIRS doesn't come looking for them. Charles is an expert in the dark arts of surveillance who worked to set up democratic media in post-communist states. How did it go so wrong in Britain?
You know, we're looking at all the wrong things when we look at Britain's crisis. There's a lot of concentration on data and how that's been used and manipulated. And what we haven't looked at is the power structures and the profit that lies behind this. For example, if we examine what actually happened, you know, there's a company that's really very interested in selling passports and making it easy to provide visas for investment and so on. And historically, throughout the world, they've been working with this big data manipulation company in order to overthrow governments, and then suddenly all the chickens came home to roost. Nobody could find any receipts for what was paid for. Nobody could figure out how things were done, but everybody had a feeling that something really stunk, and they couldn't figure it out. And yet it was standing there in their face the whole time. There's a couple of different ways that we got where it is that we are. I mean, one, you have a lot of smaller organizations, smaller power groups, companies as well, who are bending things just a little. Oh, we'll compromise a little bit, we'll bend the rules a little bit, and try to achieve what it is that we hope to achieve that's good for us. And if you add all of that up, what you end up with is a big wall moving in a big way from a lot of little buttons being pushed. But also there's this other thing that's going on here is the gathering of data and the analysis of data has authoritarianism contained within its DNA. It is by its nature a tool for authoritarianism, and it has been used in that way.
How does big data look into our lives? James covered it for the pre-crisis press.
We're starting to see the merger of private data and that with data held by the state into what are called social credit systems. This is where every aspect of your behaviour is monitored and totted up by a central system to sort of score you as a person, a bit like a credit card, but predicated on all of your behaviour rather than just the money you're spending. And this can have profound impact. We're starting to see systems emerge which will punish you and stop you from doing things in society based on your behaviours. And this can be as trivial as if you jaywalk, if you cross the road in the wrong place, you might lose points. If you do some community activities or help your neighbours, you might earn points. And then this can be used to sort of evaluate you as a person. And this could mean, for example, the travel privileges, being able to travel first class or being denied from travelling first class to not being allowed to travel at all. These systems are very real and very possible because of all of the data that is now held on us.
Ian was a veteran political writer and podcaster back in the days of pre-crisis Britain.
Is the world we're living in now fascist? Well, this is what fascism is. It is the complete and total control of the individual. The desire to basically say to the individual, nothing in your life matters. On an individual basis, you are now part of the whole, part of the nation, and the only meaning that you will find in your life is to become part of the nation. What is a nation? The nation doesn't mean anything, right? The nation is basically just encapsulated by the leader that takes over, that claims that he, has this sort of access to the soul of the country, to the soul of the people. He never does. It's just a myth. But that's what they go for. And on that basis, they take the right to control every aspect of your life, from who you talk to where you eat, to where you go to hang out with your friends. And what we're seeing now is a contemporary iteration of this process where you get corporations and the state operating in tandem, basically molded into one another. But that isn't that rare. I mean, you saw exactly the same thing in Nazi Germany. You look at the concentration camps that operated in Nazi Germany, there were private companies in those camps making use of that slave labor. Fascism often works with corporations, and it's doing the same now. That's the way in which they track what you do. That's the way in which they track who you talk to. They operate as each other's proxies.
So if your ears are burning and you think someone might be watching you, you're probably right. They're watching all of us. I'm Tash, and you've been listening to Buccaneer. Keep listening, keep sharing the show, and keep it encrypted. They're watching us, but we're watching them too.
Fucking God! Shit! Look, I'm not DedSec. I fucking swear. I never was. I'm a hacker. I steal data and I sell it. That's it. Signing up was just the easiest way to...
You must think I'm a moron, Mr. Bolton. You, a self-professed hacker, expect me to connect your physical device to my state-of-the-art supercomputer?
You think... is that what this is? No, it's not a rubber ducky. I swear to Christ.
But I've no way of knowing that, do I? So I have another proposal. Simply, tell me where DedSec's safe houses are. If the information's good, then Mr. Falstaff will stop doing this. Shh. shit. Is he...
Ah, fuck me. I'll go see if one of the mercs has a defib kit.
No, don't. We had to kill him anyway, and if more people know, well, that makes it...
Right. So... what?
Official story is he just vanished. Plausible, considering his known terrorist connections. If the Yanks buy it, then we come back and collect these drives. See if there was anything to his story.
Why do we have to meet in a police station? Makes me feel edgy.
It's good cover. If anyone sees you, they'll assume the old Bill picked you up.
Just weird to be sitting here without the old bracelets is all. So what have you got for us?
Names. It's a list of people in this neighborhood that Filament tells us will be prone to violence if provoked.
You want us to start some fights?
The bloodier the better. We want some nice, scary ultra-violence for Gran and Grandad on the evening news. Is that a problem?
How do we know this won't come back on me and mine?
Sirs wants the same thing you want. Everyone out of the Oval and the immigrant crisis resolved. You'd be doing a public service.
Ha! A public servant. Who'd have thought, eh?
Fucking hell! Radio!
Are you lost or tempest tossed? Welcome to Clare Waters. In this New England, many wonder who is calling the shots, who's pulling the strings. Our MPs are silent, our leaders invisible. Who speaks for the people? Who is the face of government?
Do you mean there's no open investigation? Are you the police or not?
We are, and I mean it exactly the way it sounds.
My friend was a journalist. She was working on a story about Sirs kidnapping people off the street, and then she goes missing. You don't find that the slightest bit suspicious?
Look, the decision not to investigate happened way, way over my pay grade. Do you understand? Way over.
You're fucking in on it. Jesus Christ!
I'm hanging up.
And I'm recording this.
Hello, Richard. We see you're trying to find us by looking into our associates. That's a good idea. Hope you don't mind if we borrow it. Who was your masked savior, we wonder?
Yes. This is Tansy Pemberton Barlow. I own a number of units in the Barbican, and let me just start by saying that I find it terribly rude and disrespectful that as a long-time and upstanding resident of this centre, I can't even speak to an actual human on the phone, damn it! Now, in my capacity as chairperson of the Residents' Committee, we are submitting an official complaint. That you have yet to respond to our petition is absolutely unacceptable. The continued occupation of the premises by your military organization has destroyed the value of our properties. Something must be done. Goodness knows security is paramount to keep the rabble from troubling the residents, but honestly, at what cost? I expect a response forthwith so that we may come to a satisfactory conclusion of this business. Thank you.
How's it going, lad? Oh, you know, the same old. Albion's been coming around here again, sticking their nose in where it don't belong.
Well, they're asking to get it broken, if you ask me.
You said it. I didn't realise this was called the Bethnal Green Albion station. They come here, telling us how to do our job and giving their critiques like they own the bloody place.
And it's only going to get worse. Yeah, they're already giving the Wapping police station problems, telling people how to drive their boats. Oh, absolutely ridiculous. I thought we warned you about trespassing, yeah?
That's right. Didn't learn your lesson, huh?
Please, I was just taking a picture of the exterior for...
Oh, did you hear that, mate? He was taking a picture.
A bloody picture!
Now listen here, you knob. This is going to be our final warning to you. If we ever see you coming around here again, the police are going to have to put out a missing persons report. And I think you know how effective they are these days, yeah?
I understand.
Okay, you've agreed to speak on the record. You are an intelligence technician at Albion and work closely with Nigel Cass, correct, Mr...?
Just you. I can't believe I'm doing this. If they were to find out.
I know. Only have to step outside to see how Albion treats people. What do you have for us?
Proof that Nigel Cass was complicit in the bombings.
What? But that's... Here, transfer it to this secure storage drive. How solid is this information?
It's a recording of him talking to some...
New security, drop your weapons!
Weapons? You can't do this!
Gather all our equipment and get it to the carousel. You, tag that wall, then get rid of this body. She can stay here.
Gang vengeance is an horrible crime, ain't it?
Oh, Jesus, he's pretty burnt up.
Happens when your truck explodes.
Fuck! I used to see him around R&D. Did you know him?
Hell no. But even if I did, I wouldn't fucking talk about it. Know what I mean?
Yes, sir. Preparations are back on schedule. I believe the stage is ready to go up. We anticipate no more delays. No, sir. These weren't your run-of-mill squatters. Those were cleared out last night. They seemed more organised. Protesters, possibly. We took them all in. Anyone not able to absolutely prove their identification was taken to the grounds. The rest will be spending some time locked up. Long enough to have a go at them. Teach them a lesson. Yes, sir. Full perimeter. Anyone trying to get through would need a tank. Or 5. At least. Confirmed, sir. Out. Sir, all serious injuries have been evacuated to nearby hospitals as ordered. I want a full incident report ASAP. This was preventable, Harris. Human error, and it cost human lives. Innocent lives it was our duty to protect. Yes, sir. The vehicle and floor. Handle it. Gather the media. I have something that needs to be said. We failed. This should never have happened, and I plan on making sure it never happens again. Command Authorization Code Delta November Charlie 001, Director Nigel Cass. Zone Supervisor Harris, the proposed measures will not be enough. Implement a full security perimeter. Sharpshooters on the surrounding rooftops, in sight. Anyone planning to crash this event will think twice. No one enters the venue without being searched. Thoroughly. Let the protesters protest their rights. We have their safety to think about. Nothing left to chance, Harris, understand? Be ready to act. The price of failure is too high. Over.
I can't run the job sites without jobbers, right? Construction drones are fine and all, but I still need hands on the controls, don't I?
So get more people. And fast.
You know how hard it is to vet some of these wazzocks through your security hoops? Bloody impossible. And anyone finally gets on the job, sees all the Albion shits around, they brick it. Not comforting, mate.
Why? Do they have something to hide? Listen, we're a high-tech company. Security is a necessity, and Albion has a vested interest in what we're doing. Bloody hell. Their contract is financing this build.
Well, I hope they're financing loads, because we'll be at this for yonks at this rate.
Don't worry about that. The board has taken your concerns into consideration. They simply expect to see some progress, if only to tide the investors over, or at least, a report of progress being made. Understand?
Oh, right. I'll just apply the old Tipex to my latest report and Bob's your uncle.
Wonderful. We'll expect it to be ready for the next meeting. If I'm not mistaken, the docket includes discussing a raise in salary for the job foreperson. A positive report would certainly positively influence the board members.
I do believe another story's gone up and done, mate.
Director Cass, I've been unable to reach the Commissioner's office.
He's stalling. Doesn't matter. It won't change anything. I won't allow it to change anything. Damn him. Yet another fool who knows what the right thing to do is, but lets emotions get in the way.
He's still scheduled to attend. Would you like him removed?
No. Despite all, we need to work with the official government. Send a security detail to make sure he attends. Dress it like a state privilege and sit him front and center at the meeting. He'll be key to my getting the others to fall into line.
Oh my God. Please. Shh. This can't be happening. Oh my God.
Will you shut the fuck up?
Shh. Did you hear that? They stopped firing.
You're right, I don't hear anything.
Wait, I think...
Oh fuck, they're coming!
No!
No more excuses. This is my city, and I will not have DedSec ruin my plans for it. Themis was poised to change London, the world. And this group of... And Hamish fucking Balaji? I want them all. They made you all look like fools. They walked calmly into the White Tower, and no one, not one of you, stopped them with all our vaunted security measures. So do any of you have anything to say? Nothing. Well, everyone, and I mean everyone in the organization, will be revetted immediately. Someone help them, that's certain, and we will root them out. This time, we will get them all.
He's looking to automate our jobs, mate. This is no joke.
Director Cass? You're serious? Who told you that?
Friend over in R&D. The shit he's told me about background checks and knowing who's going to be useful to Albion, who's going to be a problem.
You that worried about your job? This is a PMC. They already do background checks on all of us.
Oh, you don't get it. He was talking about the general population, not just us employees. How bad is it that everyone has to be watched that closely?
Well, look around. It's fucking bad. And Cass is going to do what he has to keep it from getting worse. Suggest you do the same.
Fucking hell. Right here.
Are you lost or tempest tossed? Welcome to Clare Waters. What do you see when you look up in the sky? Clouds? Stars? I see drones. More and more every day. We're told it's for our safety, to keep crime in check. But what has it really done other than make people more paranoid? When we trade freedom for safety, we build our own cages.
Fucking hell. Right here.
Thirsty for the truth? Wet your whistle with Clare Waters. So are Albion the new cops? I would argue no. They're not the law. They put themselves above it. And why not? Who's going to stop them? The Met? Please. There are no more cops, just glorified security guards and tricked-out troopers with little in between.
Our job is not an easy one, but it is an important one. Right now, we devote countless hours to intelligence gathering, and still things slip through the cracks. We're doing our best, you tell me. We are, but our best isn't good enough. That doesn't sound right. But even we aren't perfect yet. Yeah, they'll like that. That strikes a humble note. We make errors in judgment. That's human nature, but we cannot afford errors. We are the last resort to protect the people. Project Themis will dispense justice and protection. It will use data to predict the patterns of crime and abuse. It will let us transcend the faults in our own nature. Not bad. Yeah, they'll have questions, of course, which is fair. It's an extreme measure, and there is potential for abuse, but this is what London needs.
He's launched them, Mum. They're waiting up there, and no one knows. People think he'll keep them safe, but that's not what he wants. He wants control. He sent them up there to watch us. And worse, he called them Justice Themis drones. What a cruel joke. The project was dead. But he has the team re-engineering an upgrade that'll activate a systemic reboot, and you always hated it when I used my big up words. I can't let it happen. And without him, it doesn't. Mom, I'm about to do something. Something awful. Or at least people will say it's awful. If they know what I know, maybe they'd think better of me, less of a monster. But I'm trying to stop a monster, Mom. I am. If you had the chance to stop something terrible from happening by killing someone, wouldn't you do it? Something truly horrible. I'm sorry. I love you.
Take this down. The Tone bombing presents us with an excellent opportunity. Once we've taken full possession of the site, it gives us a good vantage point on the Thames and provides us with a cover of activity to mask some of our own higher risk activities.
Hey, Princess. Just wanted to hear your voice.
Oh, this is new. Do they train you to be romantic?
In a sense. Look, I might be wrong, but I feel a little paranoid over here.
I thought the Nexus office was a great promotion.
It is. But look, let me go somewhere quieter.
Sure.
So, this is better. Yeah, look, some of the lads disappear. They might be off someplace better, but I know what we usually do.
Yeah, I think you're paranoid. Look, you got promoted there. Stop worrying.
Well, you might be right. But maybe this isn't a real promotion, but just a way to exercise even closer control on us. You know, management doesn't want people to affirm themselves too much. A colleague told me he was about to be arrested and he didn't know what he was accused of. They just told him to report to security. This as soon as his trial period expired. I got 2 days left.
Yeah, it got to you. You are paranoid. Relax and get back to keeping London safe. You'll see, things will turn out just fine.
Bye, Princess.
Love you. Relax.
Have you looked at the Themis brief, ma'am?
Yes, I looked at it before I assigned you to the project. I am quite familiar with what it entails.
You must see the ethical implications of this. Themis violates half a dozen laws at least.
Those laws don't apply anymore. Or haven't you been paying attention? We're functioning under martial law here.
No. Themis is more than just martial law. It's a guillotine waiting to come down on everyone.
Look, you have two options. You can do your job,
or you can lose your job. Pick one.
Oi, what the fuck's the matter with you?
I fucking had it. I'm tired of this shitty fucking job. I stand around here all day in this ridiculous suit and... What's the temperature out here? Do you even know? Feels like I'm literally on fire. You could fry your fucking eggs on me, mate. And for what? Nothing ever happens here.
What do you mean nothing ever happens?
I mean, literally nothing ever happens. Worst I got is some pigeons shitting on my head and battling a fucking fever all day long, yeah? My nan gets more action at a care home.
Have you completely lost your mind?
I don't know. Probably. Since I feel like I'm fucking 2,000 degrees all the time. I didn't join Albion for this. I belong out there on the sea.
What?
That's it. I'm gonna do it. I'm jumping in. Finally take off this bloody outfit. I cannot wait for Friday, mate. Simmons. Do you know him? Anyway, no matter. He's the one who organised our team-building activity. He's rounded up a few of the prisoners they brought in a little while ago. The ones who didn't have any relatives. He figures he'll make for an easier time when we declare them missing. Right, so the fun part. He's going to release them into an open field while we get our shots in. I'll bet you a pint I can get rid of 10 before you. You're on, you slimy bastard. Listen here. I'm going to tell you something, and it's between you and me. Completely off the record, yeah? The whole thing's quite disturbing to me. They've got good reason to close off parts of the building, but at the end of the day, it's a load of bollocks. This place is a treasured part of London's history, of its culture. Great, powerful men have ruled over this fortress. The citizens of London have an obligation to it. You can't keep people out. They must visit it, breathe in its very essence, so that they too can become great. But again, this is all between you and me, mate. Carry on now.
No, please, don't. I'm sorry. I didn't mean to.
Where are you taking him? Stop, Jonah!
Back off, you fucking cow.
No, don't!
We saw you with those machines. Didn't crank shit and you hit jackpot each time. Think we're daft? You're fucking DedSec, aren't you?
DedSec? No, I swear, it was just a small hack.
Small hack? Who the hell did you take me for?
Please!
You know what we do to DedSec members? We make an example out of them.
Jonah! No! No! No, Jonah!
Go tell your little DedSec friends, sweetheart. Tell them to stay the fuck away.
Watch it, Bagley.
Don't call me that! That's not my name!
Enough, both of you. What a way to spoil a perfect evening. The concerto really was lovely, dear.
Can't believe we missed the cricket match for this.
Sport will come and go, son. But knowledge, creativity, intellect, those things will stay with you forever. Yeah, Bagley.
Brown noser! Ow! Ready for the match tomorrow, Dad? Come on, it's my birthday. At least pretend to be excited, Dad.
Yeah, listen, mate. I can't take you to the cricket. I'm sorry.
What? Why?
Go ahead. Tell him. Your father has decided he wants to leave. For someone he really loves. That's enough. We agreed to have one last day out, and now you're making a scene. I didn't make this scene, Kevin. You did.
Fresh round, make way. Arthur, Natalie, what are we toasting to this time?
Come on. As if you're not just going to toast yourself again.
Good idea. To the newest member of the UC London rowing team.
Your plot for Olympic domination has only just begun.
Remember this moment, you two. You'll be telling your children about the night you got pissed with a future gold medalist. Whatever you say, Bagley. Mate, don't call me that. That's not my name. Bags, push it! You're rowing down the Thames. Just shave 2 seconds off your time and... Bags? Bags? Oh, shit. Get the nurse, he's having a seizure. Why do I have a feeling we're not up here to reminisce?
Right. I've been thinking a lot about your epilepsy.
That's nice. My doctor stopped thinking about it years ago. I've had to give up so much because of it. Rowing, my mates,
I'm sorry, Bradley.
Wow. Look at you using my real name for once. I must be truly fucked.
What if I told you I had something that could work?
Ha. Never knew you were funny.
I'm not. It's a tech we're developing. It's early stages, but... Have you ever heard of neural mapping?
No.
Here, let's go to my lab. I'll show you.
Lead the way, Sky.
All right, pork sandwich and a pint.
And a strawberry shortcake with extra strawberries.
There you go, love.
Hello, you fucking beauty. Look at you, rowing again. I know. I'm due for another treatment next week. I don't know how she's doing it, but I haven't had a seizure in almost a year. I'm free. I'm so happy for you, Bags. Not even that stupid nickname can ruin my mood, so go on, wear it out. So, are we really going to make a go of this? I'm ready for the rest of my life, Arthur. And I want you to be a part of it.
Sir.
Don't touch me!
These people are here to help you, Bags.
Don't call me that! She did this! Someone stop her!
Don't hurt him. He's not usually like this.
Get out of my head!
We need an ambulance right away. Bags! Bagley! Brad!
As far as we can tell, your brother's dealing with early onset dementia. The condition is in line with the kind of violent outburst he had at the British Library. Now we can keep him and monitor his progress.
Thank you, Doctor. May I have a moment?
Of course.
You listen to me. I don't care what it takes. No brother of mine is going to waste away in some hospital.
I've had enough of this. These little scribbles that we make, they're not enough. What do?
They denounce the tyranny.
Like fuck they do. Hidden up here, no one gives a fuck about what we have to say. Yeah, it was fine when we didn't know what else to do, but you've seen the news. DedSec is back. They're out there doing real things, taking action.
You want to join DedSec now?
I'm not saying that. Well, maybe. Or maybe we can do something similar, help them out, you know? Tell them we're on their side, that Londoners will fight back.
I'm not sure about this.
Of course you're not.
What's that supposed to mean?
Face it, you're lazy. Just like the rest of them. Compliant. I am done being bullied. You should wake the fuck up. Life isn't all glitter and daisies, you know.
Fuck off.
Gladly.
This is London Calling. You're listening to me, Tash, on Buccaneer, your source for what they don't want you to know. This time we're turning our focus back on the media to look at my former employer, the GBB. As we know, the broadcaster has been through a lot of changes since the Hassani government gave in to pressure from his corporate backers and privatised the corporation. Today, the GBB is a shadow of its former self. It's become a tool used by the government to circulate fake news and misinformation. So how did we get here? Where did it all go wrong? How can we tell when our national media has become state propaganda? Our experts speak on conditions of anonymity for their own safety. Here's disinformation and media expert Charles, who's seen free broadcasters built up by journalists and torn down by demagogues all over the world.
So before the media fragmented, there was this voice of authority that was trusted and worthy of trust. Then what we ended up with is a really commercial model where whether you're talking about an app on a smart device or whether you're talking about a broadcaster, the most important thing was to keep you in that environment for the longest amount of time possible, and because that meant money in their pocket. And in order to do that, a couple of things happened. One was the use of manipulative techniques around behavioral economics, things that would just keep you scrolling or keep you listening or keep you looking for more information. The second is that that kind of environment favors sensationalism. And so you got more sensational headlines and more sensational stories, and it didn't matter whether they were true or not. It just kept people in and it kept them in the loop. So we ended up in a situation where nobody trusted anything and nobody believed anything at all. And that is the perfect environment for an authoritarian voice to come in and say, no, wait, we are the truth. So the ground for this environment really got created when we had suddenly authoritarian politicians everywhere, and anything that threatened them or they disagreed with, they would call it disinformation. That's disinformation, that's fake news. And again, we got in a situation where nobody really believed anything. And the trouble is if you were telling the truth, it's very hard to get your message to cut through all of the noise of all of the disinformation that's there. So like, you remember Out on the Edges, there was this story about when they would take a house by force, they would take any infants and they would crucify them. And that's a great, fantastic, viral story. And how do you counter that story? With the truth. The only way you can counter it is by saying, no, they didn't. And of course, no one wants to spread that story. No one wants to hear that story. They want to hear the sensationalism. They want to hear how people were victims of violence when in fact they weren't, or they were victims of insurgent forces when in fact they weren't.
The news isn't neutral, it's a battleground. Here's media researcher and academic Alfie.
The media has, of course, been perhaps the key way in which governments have controlled and influenced their populations. So, totalitarian countries have typically used huge mainstream media outlets to sell one kind of news, one kind of biased news to its population. Of course, the media has always played this kind of key role in methods of state control. I think what's happening now is perhaps even more concerning, where you previously, in pre-crisis Britain, we had perhaps more diverse voices in the media, but now with the GBB, you're really only seeing one brand of news and therefore only getting one truth. So people end up with a very biased and controlled idea of the reality and the world that we're actually living in. There was, of course, many concerns and many problems, but in a way there were some positive things that, like, not all information was coming from one place, and so you'd have kind of far-right media outlets developing and then left-wing media outlets developing to combat those and kind of challenge the mainstream newspapers, TV stations, radios, and make sure people were questioning the validity and truth of the information they were receiving. So whilst there was the digital afforded more fake information, it also makes us suspicious and skeptical of information and makes us question the information we're getting. And I think in pre-crisis Britain, it might not have seemed great at the time, but there was something positive about that there was a lot of distrust in the media and in the different kinds of truths that were being told. Whereas now, I think you're seeing a return to a more traditional and older pre-digital sense, actually, of people just trusting what they're told, and that's why we have to be here with radio stations like this to challenge those conceptions. most citizens feel pretty hopeless, I think, and unable to fight back against these kind of huge mainstream corporations that simply entrench and support the ideals and ideologies of the state. It can seem very hopeless indeed, but I think, the fact that you're out there listening, we're in here talking, shows that there is still a space to combat these false truths and disinformation that's being sold to us, and that it's never possible really to completely shut down, despite all the technologies that they have at their disposal and all the financial and corporate power and all the physical power. It's never quite possible to shut down people's desire to get to the truth and fight for their own ideologies and values, and we're out here starting that task, so don't give up hope.
You've been listening to Buccaneer with me, Tash. We'll be back soon with more of what you'll never hear on the GBB. Keep listening, keep sharing, and keep resisting.
I'm Claire Waters, and we've been discussing the hacktivist, now alleged terrorist group, DedSec, on this week's Buccaneer Radio. I have Colin calling in. Colin, what's your take?
Now, I've been saying from the start we should have rounded up DedSec and thrown them in jail. Now, I'll say they should all be lined up and shot.
You don't find it awfully convenient that they've been fingered as the attackers, but we've seen no proof?
Look at Tone! Look at our city! What more proof do you need?
Well, Colin, I'd say you have to look at their history of non-violent action. Albion's put more civilians in the hospital in the past few months than DedSec ever has. I smell a scapegoat. Now I have Emily calling in. Emily, what's your take?
You're absolutely right, Claire. The government's just framing DedSec because they want to make it seem like they have this under control. They probably have no clue who was behind the bombings. But that doesn't look good on the news, does it? DedSec's been a thorn in their side. Who better to pin it on?
Angie, I have you next. What do you make of all this?
I think, if anything, DedSec showed their true colours. It's terrifying to think we harboured such a dangerous element for years. Terrorists in our own backyard.
Do you find DedSec more frightening than the different gangs in London, like Clan Kelley?
Clan Kelley might set your shop on fire and maybe they'd kill you, but even they wouldn't try to blow up all of Parliament.
Next, I have Crypto King. Do you feel safer using a pseudonym?
Everyone should. Why make it easier for them to track you? And now we've seen what they're capable of and how far they're willing to go.
Hold on. Do you mean the government? Are you suggesting the government was responsible for the bombings?
Oh, trust me, Claire. They didn't do it alone. They're all in on it. The government, Albion, Sirs, Bloom, Sky Bloody Larson, and all the way up to Downing Street. They want to keep us scared, harness us with mind control, suck every last ounce of usefulness out of us, and even in death they'll sell off our bodies.
And what do you suggest we do, Crypto King?
Go underground. Deep enough, no electric signal can get you. It's the only way.
Well, thank you to all of our callers today, and thank you for tuning in and scouting for the truth along with me. Next week, Buccaneer Radio will be diving into the Albion Corporation. Just who are these men and women being paid lucrative amounts for the city's defence? Are they protecting us? Protecting London? Or someone else's interests? See you next week, fellow pirates. Claire Waters, out.
This is Inspector Caitlin Lau. Well, former inspector now. Since Albion's coup, the Met is no more. The police brass had already buried the evidence anyway. everything implicating Albion and Clan Kelley in the bombings. But I know Mary Kelley's band of twats were involved, and they're involved in other crimes we can look into. Me and a few good mates are willing to go off book, going after Mary Kelley again. I'll never fucking learn, will I?
To whom it may concern, sod it, look, this isn't working. I'll just talk normally, all right? You know who I am. I'm here to help. Noticed a young lass, very clever one. She comes to mass sometimes. See her with her folks. Her name's Emily Colbert. Found her in the Obelisk Tower last Sunday. No clue how she got there, but she was very cheeky about it when I told her to leave. She's got real potential. Look her up, Ded. You know who I mean.
Welcome back to The Upload. Today we're talking about cryptocurrency. Crypto now seems like it's been around forever, but it's really quite a new invention. Were you an early adopter?
I was one of the first that was in this market. There seemed to be a new way of financial transactions, a new way of money. It's something that we could completely reinvent and change some of the legacy financial systems around the world and really give power back to the people.
Yeah, it was a real shift in the way that the world works. Let's recap the basics. Central to cryptocurrency is the distributed ledger technology, the tech that keeps track of all transactions. And what this means is you can have a decentralized system without having to trust any one party, like old-fashioned banks.
One of the reasons why I got involved so early was that you could stay anonymous.
Yeah, the features of cryptocurrency very much fit into that early mindset. It was all about finding an alternative to centralized systems. It was kind of a countercultural punk ethos. The whole point of the distributed ledger is you're not trusting any one person to keep a track of who has what money or how they're spending it. It's all out there in the open for anyone to see, and yet you can remain secretive.
But not everybody now wants to keep up this crypto legacy. They don't share this attitude anymore. We've seen institutions, businesses, even governments experimenting with crypto, which doesn't really fit into its original radical counterculture mold.
Yeah, it's kind of weird today to think of people not using cryptocurrency. It's so mainstream now. You know, I'm almost nostalgic for the feel of cash. Good old-fashioned paper and coins. First they changed the paper notes to plastic notes, and now it's just all digital. There's nothing to hold on to.
It was great just to be able to have a little bit of money to carry around with you.
I think the turning point in the UK really came a few years ago when the pound dropped 10% over just one season. People living off grid started using crypto, and just as everyone was losing faith in the pound, they were gaining it in cryptocurrency, which turned out to be much more stable. Kind of the opposite to what people thought in the beginning.
And then, of course, there was the recession. It didn't take long for startups to see an opportunity in this new way of doing finance. A lot of traditional money was converted to crypto, and it really shook up the financial sector.
Can you remember when they first introduced crypto cash points?
That was really sneaky. It was a classic startup behavior. They just installed them everywhere. No consultation with the government, no approval or anything, but people immediately started to use them.
Yeah, it kind of reminded me of how Bloom put out the Optic. They just made it free and flooded the streets with these devices. Suddenly everyone had them.
If there's this great option of tech, people are just going to start using it, no matter the cost.
Parliament actually tried to put a stop to the cash points, but people were using them so much already. There was outrage. I mean, some parts of London were already using crypto as their primary currency by then.
And now, apparently, or at least in theory, crypto is illegal.
Yeah, in May this year, economists found that crypto was being traded more than the pound, and banks were not happy. They basically forced the government to ban cryptocurrency in a last-ditch effort to save the pound.
But it's not like that's worked. People are still using crypto, and it's been pushed further, deeper underground. Things used to work fine with crypto, and it was just a peer-to-peer sharing economy-style system. Now it's all on the dark web and wrapped up again in organised crime.
Yeah, if you want to make something thrive on the black market, just make it illegal.